What's good, YouTube? We back with another video, and today I'm gonna go over 3 music video effects you can use in your next edit. Now, before I get into the video, my Black Friday / Cyber Monday sale is still going. It's buy one get one free. That means if you add 6 packs to your cart, you get 3 of those packs for free. Just add them to your cart, and a discount is automatically applied. In addition, I'm launching my all-in-one bundle sale. The all-in-one bundle comes with every pack I've released, but also comes with every pack I will release. So these packs that I will release, you will get as a free update. This is the absolute best deal right now. You can get it for 50% off. Links will be in the description. We're gonna start the video off light with the split doppler effect. This is usually an effect you create with a piece of glass in front of your lens, kind of splitting off the focus, but also keeping it, kind of giving you this dreamy haze effect. So I got this clip here. I'm just gonna open it in Fusion. I'm gonna grab a merge node, and what we're gonna do is basically merge the footage over itself. So take the output of the media 1, connect it to the merge, then take the output again and connect it to the merge. So what this is doing is putting the media in both the background and the foreground. You're gonna take the output of the merge and connect it to the media out. Then go up here to the toolbar, grab a transform. We're gonna add it to the green input on the pipeline, and that's the foreground. Then we're gonna go back here. You can use any mask you want. I'm gonna use an ellipse mask for this. I'm gonna take the output of the ellipse mask and connect it to the merge 1. And what this is doing is going to limit the effect of the transform to the merge, well, to that particular area of the mask. If I click on the transform and increase the size, do it about 1.7, something like that. Then I'm gonna click on the ellipse mask and soften the edges. Then I'm also gonna just use the on-screen controls by grabbing this here and just kind of move it off to the side. So that's kind of creating this dreamy haze effect. And to kind of spice it up a little bit, I'm gonna click on the transform, hit Control Space, and grab a Gaussian blur. Then you can adjust it to your liking, get a little bit more haze. So you can use your Gaussian blur or a regular blur. Then I'm going to the blur channels, going to settings, and I'm going to disable the red channel. It's gonna kind of give you this chromatic like effect. Now again, this effect can be used with any mask. If I disconnect this and grab like a polygon mask and connect it to the merge, I can then draw like a unique shape. Just make sure you soften the edges. Like I said, we're starting off simple, but it's a pretty cool effect. So this next effect gonna be a little bit more advanced. We're gonna be getting into 3D. So I got my clip here, I'm gonna open it in Fusion. So in Fusion, I'm gonna go up here to the taskbar, I'm gonna grab a Mac control node and bring it to my pipeline. That should connect into the yellow input or the background node or the background input. Then for this, I'm gonna grab a rectangle mask. I'm gonna right click on the output and connect it to the Mac control node. If you right click, you should get this little menu here. We're gonna connect it to the foreground. Now in the Mac control node, go over to the inspector tab, make sure you have the first 2 settings the same as mine. So it should say combine alpha and copy, and then at the bottom here you should have post multiply image checked. Then you're gonna take the rectangle mask and basically going to reshape the mask to basically mask out a certain area. So I'm gonna have this for probably center on this logo. Then we're just gonna repeat that. So I'm gonna grab another Mac control node. Now the next Mac control node, you actually have to connect it via a merge. Actually, we're gonna use a multi-merge. So if you don't have it in your taskbar like I do, you can hit Control Space, type in MU, you should see multi-merge. Now this is the same as a merge node, but you can connect multiple things to it, and then it also gives you the ability to edit in layers. So if you're used to like After Effects and layers, this is pretty much how you can do it. So now I'm gonna take the output from this media out and connect it to the multi-merge. This is gonna set my background. You're gonna need something to actually set up your composition in your background. So make sure that's connected first, and then you can set up the next Mac control. Then take that output of the multi-merge and connect it to the media out so you can see everything. Then I'm gonna grab another rectangle node or rectangle mask. Right click and connect it to the Mac control again, connecting to the foreground. With the next Mac control, you'll notice there's nothing happening, so you need to take the output of the media 1, connect it to the Mac control to the yellow input. So now after you connect your media to the Mac control, if your mask doesn't show up, you want to click on the multi-merge node. Like I said, it uses layers for editing, so you basically want to move the layers around just to make sure they're visible. And to move them around, you just click on the name and you just move them up or down. So I'm gonna reshape my mask, and then we're gonna repeat the process. I'm gonna grab another Mac control, connect it to the multi-merge, grab another rectangle mask. Now you can use any other mask that you want. I'm just using rectangle mask because I like the square aspect of it. And once again, connect this to the foreground, and then connect your media 1 to the background, and then just reshape the mask. So now you can do this as many times as you want to. I just only did 5. Now this might seem a little ridiculous, but now we're gonna delete the multi-merge node.
What?
The reason why we're doing that, we just need the multi-merge node so we can actually see what we were doing. So now we're going to convert this to 3D. So actually I'm going to click on the Mac control node, hit Control Space, and type in drop shadow, and I'm going to set the settings how I want. I want to find kind of a pretty strong shadow appearance. Once I have them how I want, I'm going to just click on drop shadow, hit Control C, and then hit Control V, or Command V and Control C, or Command C if you're on Mac. And just going to create a drop shadow for each one of the nodes. The only one you can actually see is the first one here, but don't worry about that. So now we're gonna go up here to the toolbar and grab a image plane. We're gonna connect this output of this drop shadow to the image plane. We're gonna repeat this for each one of our nodes. Once that's done, we're gonna grab a 3D merge. And much like the multi-merge, 3D merge has unlimited inputs. Just gonna connect them all to the 3D merge. Now I'm working in the second viewer, so I'm gonna click on the merge 3D and I'm gonna hit 2 on the keyboard, and it's gonna bring up all the nodes in 3D space. Now anytime you're working with 3D, you have to have something to render it out. Well, you need a renderer node to render it out. So we'll go up here to the top here and grab the renderer node, take the output of the render node, connect it to the 3D node, and then take that output. Actually, I'm gonna move this down here. Take the output of the 3D node, connect it back to your media out. Then I'm gonna hit 2 on the keyboard to bring it into the viewer. Now it looks really tiny and really small, so we're gonna fix that here in just a second. So now what we're gonna do is take the output of the media 1 and connect it to the back end of the renderer 3D. That's gonna create a merge node. This is gonna bring our original image back. Now we want this in the background, so you can do this 2 different ways. You can actually hit Control T, which is the keyboard shortcut, or you can change this to under over here in the operator. When you change it to under, you now see our 3D images that we created right here. Just to keep our flow organized, I'm gonna hit Alt or Option, I think it is on Mac. I'm gonna click on this little green line here. It's gonna create a little joint. Let me move this up here. It just make it easier to see everything. Now I'm gonna click on the Merge 3D, click on Transform and Inspector, and we're gonna move on the Z axis to actually bring our 3D images that we created basically back to the original size. So you hover over the numbers here and then scroll to the right. If you're working in a 4K timeline, usually it's like 1.33. And so now that's creating this like 3D like fragmentation in the image. So if you play it back, it's gonna be kind of laggy because it's in 3D space. Now what we're gonna do is actually move each one of those in Z space. So we're gonna click on the image plane, go to Transform, and gonna move this in Z space, move it to the right, it's gonna bring it all the way out. You should see it pass your viewer. That's perfectly fine. If you want to actually be able to see what you're doing, click on the Merge 3D and hit 2 on the keyboard. I'm going to click the mouse wheel and scroll up. Actually, I'm going to hold Control, zoom out by strolling the mouse wheel. Then I'm going to right click and click the mouse wheel at the same time to move around. So then I'm going to go to the next image 3D plane, click on the Transform, move it in Z space. Just kind of basically want to separate them from each other. So looking at them here, you can see I put a pretty decent little amount of distance in between them. So now we're going to go and click on that Merge 3D. We're gonna grab a camera 3D. Now this is what the camera is seeing. It's only seeing that first angle. So if I click on the media out and hit 2 on the keyboard, you're just seeing the original image. Then if I click on the camera, go into Transform, I'm gonna click on Use Target. It's just gonna basically kind of keep the target locked, or keep the camera locked in the center. Now move on the Z axis, you start seeing the fragmentation. So now if you experience your images are flipped, it's just because you got negative input on your Z axis on your camera. So just basically switch it to positive, and then flip your image back around. So now I'm gonna increase the Z axis on the camera up until the point where some of it kind of lines up. So like right here where his glasses kind of line up, the symbols right there. You don't want to have it perfectly aligned. So the logo on this shirt is pretty much my first angle. Actually, I'm going through and on the rectangle angles, and I'm gonna increase the soft edge just a little bit, not too much. Then I'm gonna go back to my camera node and I'm gonna set a keyframe. Then I'm just gonna kind of go to the end of the composition and just have it kind of zoom in slowly over time. Now my rectangle bands are relatively small, so you can make them bigger if you want to. Then we're gonna go to the spline tab, click on 3D camera. You click here to zoom to fit. Mine's already smoothed out, but you'll click this little notch here to select all your keyframes, and you can hit S to smooth, or you can just manipulate the handles how you want. I'm actually gonna create an ease out curve. And so it start off pretty fast and slow down towards the end. Now my clip is very short, so it's gonna be fast anyway because I only have like 38 frames to mess with. So my clip is only a little bit over a second. Now a quick tip, if you're having a problem in Fusion trying to view the actual motion, go up here to playback, go to timeline resolution. I got mine set to quarter, you can set it to half. But basically, it's going to dumb down the resolution while you're editing. So set it back to half. It's a little choppy, but I can see what's going on, though. And of course, after a few playbacks, you see this little green bar here. It's actually started to render cast some of the effect. I went through quite a few steps to set these nodes up. So another quick tip, if you want to replicate this effect with something else or another piece of footage, I can grab this clip in my media pool and then just hover over the media one. When I let go, it's going to ask me, do I want to replace it? And hit yes. Then it just apply that same effect to whatever clip I put in there. Now, this clip is longer, so if I wanted to, I can go back to the edit page and then stretch this out. It's basically going to completely override that footage. So here I just stretch the footage out as far as it can go. Then I go back into Fusion. I go back into my spline tab. Actually, I can go to keyframes. Click on the 3D camera. Now, I only want to mess with the 3D camera, so I'm going to go over here to the 3-dot menu and select Show Only Selected Tools. So that's only going to show the 3D camera. Hit the drop down. I'm going to do a zoom to fit. And these are the keyframes I created for the original effect. You see, now I have a lot more frames to play with, so then I'm gonna just move this keyframe here, basically all the way to the end. Then I can close all this down and get it out of the way. Now, just the keyframes, you'll see the spline here is looking a little weird, so I'm gonna close the keyframe, go into the spline tab. I'm gonna hit zoom to fit, and so you got this weird bows to it now. I'm just gonna click this handle here and then bring it back up. Try to keep it smoothed out. So now the effect has slower time to it. So shout out to my boy P. Just one of his older videos from like 3 years ago, we actually did this effect, and I actually took the node tree and put it on my Discord. You can find the link in the description for that. So in my Discord, there's a tab that says workflow. You'll see the motion tile effect. It's just a dot setting file. So with my clip open in Fusion, I'll just bring the dot setting files to Fusion. To drop it in, you'll see the node flow right there. It has media 1 there. I actually didn't mean to bring that in, but just delete it. And then you're gonna take your output of your media 1 and connect it to the green input of the instance node, and then connect it to the, or not green input, the yellow input. And then connect it to the green input of the transform node here. Then take the output of the merge 1 and connect it to the media out. Now I need to set some keyframes. So click on the very first transform 1. You can go over to zoom and set a keyframe. Then I'm gonna go a couple of frames in. Since I don't have many frames here to work with, I'm just gonna go about 10 frames in and then zoom out. You can zoom out as far as you want to. The limit on this node is like 0.25, so I'm gonna leave it right there for right now. So when playhead's still in frame 10, I'm gonna click on the y-axis. You can use x or y-axis. I'm gonna use the y-axis for this. Set a keyframe, then I'm gonna move to the end of the composition and then just move up. It's basically just scaling the image on the y-axis, but because of the way the node tree set up, one moving one way and the other one's moving the opposite. Just to get more of an idea of the full effect, I'm gonna make the clip a little bit longer. It's gonna be cut in between clips. But I'm gonna go back into Fusion, adjust my keyframes, and then I'm gonna go back into the spline tab. Click on the transform. Right now I'm gonna adjust the zoom axis. I'm gonna uncheck the position, click zoom to fit. I'm gonna select all my keyframes, right click, hit ease and ease out. Then I'm gonna uncheck the zoom, go to position, select the keyframes. On that one, I'm just gonna leave it as is. It's smoothed out already, but if yours is not smoothed out, just hit S on the keyboard to smooth. And that's gonna create this kind of like trippy, like kaleidoscope effect. And you can adjust the way it looks by one, adjusting the zoom. So if I go back to frame 10 and then turn this up a little bit, and then I also can adjust the mask itself. Follow along with me, and on the rectangle mask, you're gonna be using the y-axis to keyframe. You want to make sure you adjust you want to have your height turned all the way to 1, and then just the width of the mask to get that opposite effect. Then if you're gonna be using the x-axis, you basically want to do the inverse. So you basically turn your width all the way up to 1, and then adjust the height of the mask. That allows the image to go opposite directions on the x-axis. I'll leave a link to Peach's older video if you want an exact breakdown how this node tree works, or just let me know in the comment section. I'll do a separate video breaking it all down.